This is always the little, like, awkward minute where... Alright. Come on, where's... Alright, welcome in. This is episode 3. Third time we're doing this already. It's wild. This week we have DogWater and Flame. So, welcome in. You guys talk while I send out the notification.
Yep.
DogWater.
Memphis is winning by 45.
I don't think so. Fuck Memphis, man.
No, there is zero way I'm covering against Iowa State. I don't know why a lot of y'all have me covering.
That's going to be a crazy game in my opinion.
Because it's because you own Ron. That's what it is.
It's like 1-1, I thought.
It's literally 1-1. No home team advantage.
All right.
So
What are y'all playing on the site?
Oh no, this is straight home and home.
Oh, does Baylor have home?
No, Baylor's on the road. Alrighty. So
yeah, I'm sticking with my pick.
I sent out the notification. We are good. People should be coming in if they want to watch. If they don't, oh well. Jay Jetta's, he completely has screwed me over twice today. He was going to be our guest, and then he was like, no, and then he was like, yes, and then no, and then he screwed me in fantasy football. So, screw you, Jay Jetta's. But we're going to start out this week a little bit differently. The AP poll, we all know, is shit, but this week is the first week ever, I'm pretty sure, that there's 3 separate matchups of teams that are 5-0 or better. And so we start out, it's Penn State at Michigan at 9 a.m. Then we got the big one, Alabama, Tennessee, and Oklahoma State and TCU. So this week is going to be incredible in real life, so that's why SFA, we're going to have early game day. Games will start being posted at 9 a.m. Eastern, and then game day should start around 10:30 Eastern. But what are your guys' opinions on these matchups?
All 3 actually kind of line up with my upset picks.
Perfect.
Oh wow.
But look, everybody.
I think two of them. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, you go.
Oh well,
No,
I'm gonna.
actually, 2 of those.
All right,
Oh
you
my
go.
God.
Flame. You go.
Okay. Yeah, 2 of those games actually are my upset picks as well. So.
Well, what
Yeah,
I'll say
that's
is anytime there's a big time game, right? We always get blue balled. Alabama's done it already twice to me this year. So everybody here wants Penn State. We all want Tennessee, and we all probably want the Horned Frogs, most likely. That one's kind of more of a pick 'em. You can go either way because they're both pretty cool to cheer for. But we're going to get Michigan winning a close one, and we're going to get Alabama winning a close one. So that's what sucks about it.
You're right.
But you know what? The whole week leading up to it, all I've heard about is Rocky Top and all this stuff, and I'm loving it.
Because Bryce Young's probably not playing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he's playing or not. I mean, they may have rested him last week just to prepare him for this game.
He's put as unlikely right now, but he's going to be a game time decision.
So he'll likely play, probably. But
no, it's probably the same shit they pulled last week, where they had him warming up and everything, saying, "Oh, he's a game time decision," and then they pinched his ass.
Yeah. Well, maybe are they ever going to go back to him?
Yeah, I mean, you have to.
No, they're definitely going back to him.
It's Bryce Young. You have to go back to him. But to me, I don't think I think Bama realizes they can afford to lose this game as long as they win out, so they're not going to risk the rest of the season on beating Tennessee.
And you know what? It's so fucked up too that's how it works. I'm so glad these conferences are going to go to the 2 highest winning percentages playing the championship game. Because Alabama, you're right, they can just sit back and lose by 50 here, and it has no implications on their
no
playoff
implications at all.
I will say the only scenario where it could hurt them is if they make the championship game and lose to Georgia, and then they have 2 losses and a non-champ, But even then, it's Alabama. They're going to get the benefit
Even
of
then,
the doubt.
the SEC is going to have some sort of bias when it comes. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. SEC bias is kind of a joke, but it's still a very legit thing. So here's my whole thing of like how bad the SEC bias can get with this playoff committee. If Tennessee was to win out their entire schedule, that means they have to beat Alabama this week, and 2 weeks later they got to go and beat Georgia.
Yep.
So let's say they win both. They win out the regular season. They beat Bama. They beat Georgia. They could lose in the SEC championship game. But if Bama and Georgia also won out all their other games,
oh no,
all 3 of them could be in the fucking playoffs.
Oh no,
which is
dude.
absolutely ridiculous.
Don't.
Which is fucking ridiculous. But there's a legit shot this year that we could have 3 SEC teams in the playoffs.
And this is why expansion is so necessary, and I'm so glad it's happening. Like, we know there's SEC bias, and when there's 12, there will probably be 4 SEC teams in it. But to me, that doesn't matter, because then you're guaranteeing the 5 conference champs, the highest-ranked group of 5, to at least have a chance. But with this 4-team playoff, if we had 3 SEC teams in Ohio State, I wouldn't even watch. I'd be so upset. But the thing about these matchups this week is, how is TCU a 4-point favorite? Oklahoma State is one of the most disrespected teams in college football. Spencer Sanders is good, but Oklahoma State, they have been very good for about the last 10 years, and every single year they're underrated, and nobody gives a shit. Like last year, they were literally 6 inches from making the college football playoff. And this year, they're literally a 4-point underdog to TCU that wasn't even ranked at the beginning of the season. And they were ranked like 8th.
Yeah, but that's how Oklahoma State's always been, though. They always have the pieces to make a run. But to me, even if they made it, they'd have just been another Michigan or Cincinnati getting blown out in the first round.
No, I agree. I think their best team that they probably ever had was the Brandon Weeden days with who's the guy who got in all sorts of trouble, the wide receiver Justin Blackman.
Blackman.
And then they choked. Them and Boise State both choked that year. I think, was that 2007? Maybe not. But yeah, they were.
No, Blackman was after 2007.
No, that had to be like 11, I think.
Yeah, Blackman was like 2011, I'm pretty sure.
But any of the case, they've been so good for so long, and just these kind of little things where they're like just written off to start is kind of bogus to me. But nevertheless, this is going to probably be one of the better college football Saturdays in recent memory, assuming these games aren't blowouts.
Yeah, and I'm lucky to actually be off that day, so woohoo!
Me too, dude. So that's what I love. I mean,
let me just say, it is an absolute fucking joke that fucking Oklahoma State is an underdog to TCU in this game.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude, the bigger joke is really Texas being favored by 16 against Iowa State. That's a bigger joke.
Iowa State's been kind of fucking ass here. So
you know the real reason that they're favored probably is because they blew out Oklahoma. There's still that Oklahoma bias, even though they are ass.
That's literally it.
Well, yep. Oklahoma's favored to win this week, so I mean, it's I mean, they still have their bias there.
All right, well,
look, I favored Texas, yes, but not by 16.
Well, I mean, you gotta look at it. I mean, they almost beat Bama with a backup quarterback, and then they go and blow out fucking Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's on the Texas high horse right now.
All right, well, let's move it on to your upset pick. So, if you're looking at these records, we're a collective 1 for 6. So,
God damn.
Let's hope this week we are a little better. We should call this segment more like your guaranteed covers. Who wants to go first?
Oh my god.
I mean, I can go first.
All right, go ahead.
So my first one, I got Penn State beating Michigan. I think Michigan's a fucking fraud. Uh, it, they just, they're. I will say one thing about Michigan. Everybody wants to talk about they don't play anybody. At least they're blowing out their nobodies, unlike your SEC teams right now.
Hmm.
Um, and then I have Oklahoma State beating the fucking brakes off of TCU.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I've got Tennessee winning this game against Bama. I'm gonna be screaming Dolly Parton's fucking Rocky Top at the top of my lungs all fucking weekend for this game.
All right, so
I
we're
got
gonna.
Tennessee by 14 points.
All right, so we're gonna go with.
Really?
Dude, that big of a blowout?
Hear me out. I knew there would be some shock to that. Tennessee has one of the most explosive offenses in college football right now, and if Alabama doesn't have Bryce Young, there's no shot they match that tempo.
I
Yeah,
can see it though.
and I will say that the matchup is pretty bad for Alabama. They have one of the worst pass defenses in the SEC, and Hendon Hooker just airs that bitch
Hmm.
out.
And
So,
Hendon Hooker went and dropped 40 on LSU's head in Death Valley. So
well, let's be honest,
I,
LSU is not really the best. But yeah,
they had one loss going into that game. I mean, I'm not saying they're a great team, but I mean, they're no fight. And going into Death Valley, just I don't care how bad LSU is, it's not an easy task going into Death Valley and dropping 40 on their head.
alrighty. So we'll give DogWater two predictions. I'm not going to count the Oklahoma State TCU one because that's one of those ghost upsets. Um, so Flame, who do you have?
I also have Penn State over Michigan.
Oh no, we're doubling down.
It yeah, but it's a different reason. Mainly because I frankly just don't see JJ McCarthy really like going off. It's really just going to depend on the trench play between Michigan and Penn State. I personally would favor really Nick Singletary over Blake Corum, just plain and simple, really. And my other one is Iowa State over Texas. I'm
Ooh,
straight up picking Iowa State outright.
wow, that you know what that they're
That's
giving
brave.
Texas they're giving Texas a big line at 16, but that's still a very ballsy outright pick. Because normally we pick like a 7 point dog or 3.5 or whatever. 16 points. I mean, I think that's kind of an easy cover for Iowa State. They play great defense. Um, and then back to this Michigan Penn State game you guys keep talking about. If Penn State can run the ball, I think that they pull it out.
Michigan's gonna crumble.
Yeah, plain and
Oh,
simple.
fun fact,
If as
TC.
long as Clifford isn't making mistakes, they should be fine.
Did you know Utah is favored to win over USC?
So let me tell you about my upset pick here. Um, I'm picking Utah over USC. It is an upset. I know that they're favored, but here is why. Okay, I love USC. I really, really hope that they can pull it out and they go undefeated. But this team, their offense, it's all their offense. Their defense is only good in certain situations. So they have one of the best pass rushes in the country, which leads to all these sort of rushed, tipped passes that leads us to be leading the country in interceptions. Now, what happens when Utah gets a lead and they run the ball? Well, we have one of the worst interior lines in the Pac-12. So if Utah can grab a lead, if they can hold us off the scoreboard and they're not down by multiple scores, they will win this game. We have to beat the brakes off them very early to get out with a lead to force them to throw so we can force Cam Rising into mistakes. Otherwise, they're just gonna run it down our fucking throat, and we're not gonna be able to stop them at all if they have a lead. Then they'll just drain the clock, shorten the number of possessions that we give to Caleb Williams, and they will win. That's exactly what happened with Oregon State. They just didn't have the talent to actually pull it off. But Utah definitely does. So I think that they will beat us, and that's going to be my upset pick.
I mean, I also did see one more interesting game on this schedule. I mean, it's not really an upset or anything, but Memphis at East Carolina this weekend.
Oh, jeez. I don't. You know what? I don't even want to talk about East Carolina, real life, or in the SFA. I'm kind of like hurting, nursing my wounds for the next 8 weeks or so.
I mean, it could be worse because Memphis fans just had to watch them blow like a fucking 30-point lead to Houston.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that game. That was fun.
I mean, honestly, this week has a ton of good games, but there's, like I said, in the Discord, there's just a shitload of kind of ghost upsets, as you could say. So, like, Syracuse is favored over NC State, but the rankings are flipped. Oklahoma State the same way. You have Minnesota, who's
Utah,
not ranked.
USC.
You have Minnesota, who's not ranked, is a 7-point favorite over Illinois, who's ranked number 24. So, like I said, the AP poll is...
Which is weird to me, but whatever.
I think Illinois is really good. But I also think Minnesota with Ibrahim is better. But who knows if he's going to be able to ever stay healthy. All right, any other comments on these upsets? We're locking them in.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Florida State beats Clemson.
No, that's definitely not happening.
No. I'm sorry.
Right.
Just,
so
I want that, but no.
So we've kind of talked about it. We're going to do our real life college football playoff picks right now on who we think is going to make it at this point to the end of the season. So I'll start. I think Georgia, number 1, obviously. 2, I'm going to go with Ohio State. Then I think Clemson. And then I'm going to go number 4, I'm going to go with UCLA. Now, let me tell you why. Alabama is not going to make the playoff for this reason. Is they're going to drop a game on the road because they are a terrible road team. They face Texas, barely won because of a backup quarterback. Barely lost to Texas A&M, who is dog shit because of a bad play call from your boy Jimbo. And I think that they lose to Tennessee. If they don't, they'll probably lose to someone like Auburn, and then they're going to lose to Georgia in the championship game. So 2 losses. I don't think there's any way that they actually get in. I think Ohio State goes undefeated. I think that's pretty obvious. I don't think they let Michigan beat them twice. And then Clemson is proven to me that they're going to be the ACC winner. I don't necessarily think they're one of the 4 best teams, but I don't think anyone's going to be beating them. And then the real shock, UCLA. DTR is him. He is so good. He's a borderline Heisman type guy. And that team, they can run the ball, they can throw the ball, they don't turn it over. They're extremely tough in the trenches, at least compared to Pac-12 teams. So I think that they're just going to run through the Pac-12. I don't think USC can contain them because of the things I was saying before about their defense. And I think really their only competition is Oregon, and I think that they'll stomp Bo Nix. So those are my picks. How about you guys?
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first. My picks are Ohio State number 1, Bama number 2, number 3, I'd say Clemson, and my 4th and final pick is Michigan.
None of y'all have Ohio State?
No, I said Ohio State number 1.
No, he's leaving out Georgia.
Oh.
He's leaving out Georgia. Wow. 2 Big Ten teams.
Yeah. Okay. I really think that Ohio State is pretty much going to just run through everybody, essentially. They, look, to this point, they haven't shown that they're actually beatable at this point. So I still have them at my personally number 1. As far as Alabama, well, they pretty much still have the benefit of a doubt, and I'm pretty much trusting them to basically win out a close one, even without Bryce Young. Number 3, Clemson, they're pretty much just gonna run over the ACC. Almost no sweat, really. Um, there's nothing in the ACC at this point. And Michigan, if they keep it close with Ohio State near the end of the year, that's the one condition. Otherwise, then I put Georgia at number 4.
Wow.
But yeah, that's it.
That's a brave pick, putting
Two
Michigan
Big Ten
in.
teams. I mean, it is plausible. You gotta have Georgia they gotta lose to Tennessee, and then lose to Alabama. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely plausible. As long as Michigan, they have to stomp Penn State, and then barely lose to Ohio State to get that kind of treatment, because they won't be playing in a championship game. Or you could have it kind of the other way around. You could have it where Ohio State barely loses to Michigan, and Michigan plays in the conference championship, so they automatically get in. And Ohio State, obviously, everyone thinks they're so good that they could get in just based off of just their name. So definitely an interesting pick.
So I kind of already talked about who I'm actually picking for the playoffs this year.
Throw it out there.
I think with the SEC bias that goes on in college football, and people can say the committee is unbiased, that's a bunch of bullshit. What's going to happen, what my prediction is, Tennessee is going to win out their schedule, lose in the conference championship, but it won't matter because they beat the other two teams. It's going to be Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State in the playoffs this year.
Ugh. And then who do you have winning? I think everyone would cheer for Tennessee, but who would you have winning?
You know, the Cinderella team would obviously be Tennessee because they only won 7 games last year. And that would just be the fan favorite because everybody hates the fucking. If you don't root for an SEC team, you fucking absolutely despise that conference. So, it's so bittersweet for everybody because you're either gonna fucking root for the team that's never made a playoff, but you're still rooting for an SEC team to win, and you're gonna have to listen to all the SEC homers. Yeah, I can't. I personally can't fucking do that because fuck Ohio State too.
I mean,
but that's my pick for the playoffs, and you know I know it sounds crazy to say 3 SEC teams in the playoffs. It doesn't take a lot for that to happen though.
No, it really doesn't. The scenario you laid out there is very, very likely because I'll be honest.
Tennessee, the only other game they play is Georgia. That's their only other tough game after Alabama.
And all they have to be is Alabama, who is weak on the road. Neyland Stadium is going to be
100,000 orange and white fans, baby.
It's going to be crazy. If the backup quarterback starts as well, they're fucked. No chance Alabama gets out of there with a W if Bryce Young doesn't play. In my opinion. All right,
and I'm gonna be screaming Rocky Top, baby.
Dude,
yeah,
that's gonna be
honestly saying.
You know what? Before you and Nick joined the server, I never actually heard Rocky Top all the way through because I never bothered to watch the SEC enough. But you know what? It is an enjoyable song. I will say that.
Dude, Dolly Parton slaps. I don't care what anybody says.
All right. Well, now we're gonna transition into SFA stuff. So first, is the college football playoff. Pinstripe, he just doesn't have enough time with like school, volleyball, and stuff to do it at the times that we do it. So Rick, who came in number 6, is going to replace him for the next rankings. But the first rankings came out. They're in the server if you want to look at them if you haven't yet. Flame's on it with me. I wanted to get DogWater's opinion on them. I will say that right now, if the season ended today, this is what the playoff would look like based on our rankings, okay? And I will say that we don't take into consideration auto bids or G5 bids or anything when making the rankings, the top 8, until after conference championships. But if the season ended today, you would have number 1 Ohio State versus number 8 South Carolina, which would be an awesome game. You'd have on the other side, number 2 Kansas State against Georgia, which I think would be another
Georgia
crazy
would
game.
beat the fucking brakes off of them, dude.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
Vandegrift would win that.
yeah.
If you go
Yeah.
down, you would have number 3 Stanford against number 6 Washington. So this is one of those games that's kind of weird, but
You mean number 3 Notre Dame?
Yeah, it's Notre Dame, Washington.
no. So Notre Dame actually is not eligible to be in the top 3 or in the top 4 because they don't have a
Oh, they
conference
don't have a
championship.
conference.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yep. So
Okay.
the highest they can get is number 5, which is going to screw over a particular team. I will tell you in a second. But Stanford versus Washington
Memphis.
right now, but they are going to face because they're in the same division. So that's probably could be game day. Honestly, we'll see how it shakes out. And then number 4 Memphis against number 5 Notre Dame. That would be a wild game. And you know what we need to
Destiny
get.
God would beat the fucking brakes off that weak ass Notre Dame squad, baby.
I mean, dude, this Notre Dame team, they have a lot of SFA players. We haven't seen them on stream or anything because they've faced no one. These last 3 weeks, they faced good teams. So we will see.
Literally nobody is.
We will see. But yeah, DogWater, did you have any, thing that you were screaming at when you saw the rankings that you thought was complete shit?
No, I mean, no, I was 3 last week, but I can't be mad at it. First of all, we were on a bye week. Every team takes a hit on their bye week in the rankings. And we've only played 8 games so far compared to fucking 9 and 10 from everybody else, so
Yeah.
I can't hate on it.
I will say
And again, just like Notre Dame, we've played fucking nobody but SMU. That is all we have played.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, you're in the driver's seat for the G5. Now, I will say this group of 5 race is wild. If you drop a game, and I think the only game that you might drop is this week against Dirty Bird, but I mean, then it opens it up to Tulane. It opens up to the Troy, USF, Louisiana.
Yeah, but
Tech.
Tulane's still got to see us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But if you lose, it's going to be a crazy race to the finish to see if somebody can get that bid. I think one thing that the committee did struggle a lot with this week was how do we rank the ACC. As you can see, we didn't really think anyone in the ACC was good enough to be inside the top 10, which is kind of crazy because the number 1 team that we see from the ACC is Clemson, and then we go on a run. We win BC, then we win Georgia Tech, NC State, 4 in a row there. So I think.
Hold on, so I got a question about this actually with the ACC. So if Georgia Tech beats Miami, they're in the front runner for the Coastal, right?
Yeah.
Which means they're going to end up playing Clemson for the ACC championship. Is Clemson leading the Atlantic right now? Yeah, they have to be because
I think it's either them or Boston College. I don't know how it's feathered out right now. Actually, I can check in the ACC channel. So right now, actually, Boston College is leading. They only have 1 conference loss, and everyone else has 2. So Boston College controls their own destiny right now in that division. But yeah, so I think it's interesting that we didn't really think anyone in the ACC is elite, but we think that they're all very, very good teams. And that's kind of how it shook out in the rankings. But it is week 1. We've actually had multiple times a team that was not ranked in our first rankings make it into the playoffs. So there are definitely still possibilities. And then keep an eye on number 20 Baylor. They are doing what they always do. They're going to sneak in. I've called it for the last 3 weeks.
I don't know about, look, I don't know about that, but okay.
Hey, has G5 ever beat P5 in the playoffs?
Yes. So we've never had
that's happened.
G5. We've never had a G5 champion. We've had, I think it's only happened twice, where a group of 5 team won, and they were both against J Jettas. Appalachian State and in season 5, I think, and then season 6 it was Hawaii. So,
That man can't get a break.
but that was when we had a 12-team playoff. So the farthest G5 to ever go was UAB last year into the semifinal against Ohio State, where they got shit on. But yeah. All right, so let's move on to kind of the biggest story of this week in the server. And honestly, I have no idea what the fuck is even going on. So, Dirty Bird, he did this last year with TCU. He all of a sudden was like unhappy, made up some story that got him fired. And then he went to Louisiana with 2 of the top 5 recruits. And now, completely out of the blue, he's 5-3. He's about to face Memphis, and he creates this crazy ass story that gets 3 coaches to resign. So, DogWater, you're kind of in the thick of this. What the hell is going on?
I mean, to be honest with you, your guess is really as good as mine. So there's apparently been some blackmail going on, or not really blackmail, but some finger pointing towards, as what's his name said, all roads lead to Buffalo, where a certain someone hasn't been too happy with the success around the SFA, has been giving some letters to some athletic directors. And I didn't stand a chance because I did talk to Florida State earlier this year. So my athletic director doesn't believe me. So we came to an impasse, and we decided to part ways in the off season. We decided we're not going to make a big deal out of it, but we'll have to see where it goes from here. And I do know there's 2 other coaches involved with the entire story going on.
Yes.
Which would be McNasty and Dirty.
Yep. So as of right now, San Diego State, he's going to be looking elsewhere. Louisiana's going to be looking elsewhere, and so are you. Now, in terms of what caliber teams you guys are going to get, you are going to probably have the pick of, you're undefeated, you're top 5, everyone's going to be calling your name. I'm not worried about you. You're most likely going to go to Florida State. San Diego State.
Whoa. That's allegedly.
Allegedly.
Okay.
Allegedly. We'll get
Allegedly.
That's allegedly.
Okay, allegedly. McNasty, he was literally like balls deep inside South Carolina and Central Michigan last year and pulled out at the last second to stay at SDSU. So we have no idea where he's going to go. I mean, I know, but I'm not going to say. But as long as he continues on his path to winning another
I've heard
championship,
it down the grapevine.
Yeah, as long as he continues on his path, he should be good to win another championship. The problem here is Dirty. He's the one who broke this story, right? Apparently, he's not even allowed to call his own plays. He just took a visit to Appalachian State. My question is, who wants to hire a coach who's bringing in these recruits? That's great, right? But he was at TCU for 1 year. He only went, I think it was 8-4, and he left. And now this year, he's 5-3, and he's leaving. And this is at a Louisiana school that won 9 games last year. So, he's not improving.
I was surprised he did this before the Memphis game.
I'm surprised this even happened. He's set up for life. Dude, Louisiana, great recruiting. They always have great classes. They're always competitive in the Conference USA. He has the top player in the class. He has Nidair Finley, who's the top running back in the class, and who is a fucking beast. And he's leaving it. And he doesn't even have any recruits currently signed. So now he has to convince people not only to come with him, he has no factors to pitch off of. So I'm kind of flabbergasted at what's going on in Louisiana, and I don't know what's going through Dirty Bird's head. But we'll go back to where Memphis is going. I want to touch on Flame, who says he might not be coaching Baylor next year. That is probably the craziest thing to come out of this week. Thoughts?
You asking me or him?
I'm asking Flame directly. He's the coach.
All right. Well, as far as that story, well, I'm honestly considering a switch, kind of just a change of scenery. I can't look. I can't tell you who. I can't tell you where I'm going. I might stay, but I am also considering a change of scenery.
You know, I get that because you've been at Baylor since you joined, which I believe was season 2 or season 4, somewhere in there. And you've been no, season 2 when we started, because you were getting killed. You were like 1-11. You know, one of the best stories. You went from the worst team or the worst user to, you know, making the college football playoff, and it's kind of getting a little, you just keep repeating a CFB bid and I lose in the first round. But now you have Colt Brennan and you have Braylon Burnside committed to your team, a quarterback, running back duo, both in the 80s. You can go anywhere you want and immediately compete. So you're kind of in the perfect situation. So I don't blame you.
I'm
for
just bringing a
to
kicker.
Offense. Yeah, you're just bringing a kicker. So Memphis, officially, where is your head at? Where are you going? Because you're confirmed to be leaving.
I am confirmed to be leaving, and I have had quite a few visits. I tried to. I think I'm still going to take one more visit. Trying not to do too much at once, because I don't plan on just letting Memphis fall off the face of the earth while I'm here. Try not to have too much distraction coming into a pretty decent chance of an upset week for us. But right now, my front runner is definitely Florida State. When I joined the SFA originally in the season 8 off season, my plan was, oh fuck yeah, I want Florida State, and they were fucking taken. And then for a minute, I after the FSU job unexpectedly out of nowhere came open, I felt that's where the roots are. That's the old stomping grounds, and I got on this hype train where even before, I think this is like week 6, and I wanted to go to FSU so bad, and then Memphis kind of grabbed the heartstrings a little bit with that wild game against SMU and brought me back in a little bit, and then now all this happened, and I'm leaving Memphis anyways. So
all right,
it's everybody knows it's Florida State.
Then, but you're not like confirming that's where you want to go. So you're like maybe taking another visit. So what would pull you away from the Florida State job?
To be honest with you, I don't think anything can.
Okay, you're just kind of leaving it. Okay, then let me ask you this: I don't exactly off top of my head know if Braxton Miller's a senior or not. I believe he has at least one more year, and then you for sure get Jake Johnson at least one more year. So my question is, one, what are you going to do to maximize those guys' potential? Because the FSU coach has kind of shit the bed with 2 of the most talented players in the SFA. And how are you going to combat injuries?
So the fucking tooth fairy that they have there now will no longer be the strength and conditioning coach. Apparently he thinks fucking fruit roll-ups and fruit by the foot is how you get through an injury. But to be honest, I think it all comes down to schemes and what he was running there at FSU, because I can't fathom the fact that they have 3 losses on the season right now.
Yes.
With the talent they have, I mean, their backups are fucking high 80s. I came into Memphis and they won 7 games last year. To me, the way to win in this league is you have to know your roster. I mean, you've got to be able to do roster management, and it's always going to come down to what kind of playbooks you're running. So all this, I understand Georgia Tech running the triple option. That's kind of the bread and butter of that program's entire history. But you see like people like he had FSU running the triple option at one point. I'm just like that. It just blows my mind seeing some of these playbooks.
Yeah.
because and if you look at Seth Hennigan's numbers compared to last year and this year, we're 8 games into the season and he's already blown out every single category from last year. So it's just it comes down to running plays that put your players in a position to succeed.
No, absolutely. And speaking of putting your players in positions to succeed, for some reason, Randy Watson was my running back last week, and we got shit on by Western Kentucky. And I take full responsibility. I don't know how he was in there. It's bullshit. He had 100 yards on like 20 carries, but still. You know what? Like ECU, we completely choked this year. But I did make an announcement today that that I have no inclinations or I'm not going to leave. So I'm going to face the adversity. I'm not going to run off like all these wimpy coaches like Dirty Bird. So yeah, I'm going to stay put. I believe in the Bo Wallace era that's coming up for another year. I believe he can get us back to winning ways. But once the Heimlich Heisenberg era and the Randy Watson era comes to a close, I'm going to be very scared about what our team becomes. Because I got super lucky with that recruiting class. But yeah, so it's going to be very exciting this offseason now with all this crazy coaching carousel stuff. But our last segment here before we do Thursday Night Football picks or whatnot is previewing game day. So we have pretty much the fight for the Coastal on Saturday morning. Georgia Tech, the Cinderella story, Coach Mike, number 12, Georgia Tech, playing at number 18 Miami, who honestly is probably a little bit underranked. I know that they have a loss against Florida Atlantic, but they're still a very, very good squad. They did just beat FSU. And this is going to be the fight for the division.
Allegedly.
Yeah. This is going to be, unless someone chokes down the stretch against shit teams, this is going to be the fight for the division because Georgia Tech, their last game is against Georgia, but that's not a conference game. So that won't have any effect on who wins the division. So I just want to get your guys' thoughts.
But it definitely has some playoff stakes, though. Not that game. It's definitely going to have some playoff stakes.
Absolutely. Especially if Georgia is not able to win their division, because they're in the same division as South Carolina, and South Carolina has the head-to-head. So Georgia's definitely going to need to beef up and win that game to get consideration for maybe only one at-large bid. If Notre Dame continues to win, they're yoinking an at-large bid from everyone else. So there's only potential for maybe one at-large bid as of right now, which is wild. But who do you guys think wins?
Yeah, but wouldn't Memphis fall under that category for the at-large bid?
So Memphis is getting the Group of 5 auto bid. Each group.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's 6 auto bids at stake. And only 2 at-larges.
The P5 and the 1 G5. Okay.
If the highest ranked G5 is 2 losses, then that goes away and turns into an at-large bid. And same thing with all the Power 5 conferences. If there's somebody with more than 3 losses that wins a conference, then that goes away. So the only conference at risk right now is going to be the SEC, because that one division is just god-awful.
So it has to be more than 3 losses.
Yeah, more than 3 losses. Pretty much if you don't get to 10 wins, because if you're in the conference championship at 9-3, you can win it with 10 wins.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The ACC has a really good chance of the Atlantic and the Coastal having 3 lost teams in the.
But they would still get in. We saw it last year. Everyone wrote off Utah, and they somehow got in at 10-3 with the auto bid, and they ran the table. But I'm in this game. I know that simming is working out for him with Gibbs at the fullback position, but I'm really interested to see how it works on game day. running them straight up the middle with not
That's my
really
tutty
any
tally
room.
this week.
Yeah, running him straight up the middle with not really any room to make to use his speed or anything um, might be a disadvantage. Also, having these receivers, being those flex bone wing backs, I'm interested to see how it works. Um, it's definitely
I think it's going to go well for him. And the reason I do is because if he doesn't put Gibbs back there as his A back, then it's gonna be like a fucking 70 speed tight end there.
yeah.
And for some reason in NCAA 14, tight ends could have 99 trucking and they would still get bitched by anybody out there.
Oh no, absolutely. Um, Now, another thing that might impact this matchup is the fact that Georgia Tech is missing 3 starting offensive linemen. Um,
That's fucking nuts.
I just went in.
Yeah.
I just went in, and they're all tackles. So he's not a pass-heavy team, so it really doesn't, I guess, matter all that much. What matters is going to be on those outside runs. Can he set the edge with those tackles? Can they get out there and actually do some work? So I think this is
Well, his
probably,
guards are going to pull the most.
yeah, his guards will. Um, But the real problem is going to be SFA player, right end, Miami, God's Power offer, one of my favorite prospects in all of the SFA. He is the highest rated defensive lineman in the country, and he is an absolute monster. So if I do honestly see that in these triple options, that God's Power offer is going to kind of fuck over Sims, kind of how we see the quick option work. So I
Yeah.
think that could be an
Yeah.
issue. Um,
Well, also another thing to look at. I was talking to Mike. His center this week is going to be a backup tackle.
yes. So that is, and actually Mike is here, and he is bringing up a good point though that on the other side, the left end for Miami is injured. Chance Williams, he does show up on game day a lot when they are in it. Um, you know, and this Miami team, I think a lot of the new users kind of dog them a little bit, but this is pretty much like they really only lost Matt Barkley, Taysom Hill, and their running back Cameron Harris, but it's pretty much the same team that got them to the semifinals last season. Um, so I'm scared about Miami. I think what this might come down to um, is if Georgia Tech doesn't get stuck in third and longs. If they can keep running the ball on third down, then I think they win.
Yeah, I mean, I've already said it like I think week 1 when we did, or the first week of the podcast. Georgia Tech is my dark horse for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I said that they're lucking out by being in the Coastal. Um, but then again, I think if they were in the Atlantic, they'd have the tiebreaker to actually get in over Clemson, anyways. So I think Georgia Tech's going to win the ACC this season.
Flame, who do you have winning this game?
I gotta go with Miami here. God's Power offer versus basically what is essentially a really just battered offensive line is running the option is just not great. I'd have to favor Miami. I want to say Barkley's still there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Miami.
Now I will say another
What's
thing.
his
But
backups overalls
Um,
on
I
his
don't know.
line?
I don't know. Probably. I mean, it's Miami, so probably low to mid 80s. Um, I will say something we're not talking about as well is Telvin Smith, who is the left outside linebacker for Miami. Obviously, in sim, he's going to play a lot. In game days, he wouldn't normally, because in this game, if you aren't in, no, Barkley's not still there. I don't know. I must have said yes to some random question, but Telvin
uh,
Smith, he's gonna play a lot in the base packages because he's the left outside linebacker, and he's in the race for the defensive player of the year right now I don't know the name. It's the Bednarak. I must have butchered that, but he could really fuck this over for Georgia Tech because he's like a 96 speed linebacker.
Let me just say that it's so fucking disgraceful to hear Telvin Smith's name mentioned with Miami.
I know, it's one of the more disgraceful things to happen in the server. But yeah.
God, it's so fucking terrible.
Yeah, you should have been here in like season 6 when he auto committed to Miami because nobody put points into him. Because we used to have a point-based recruiting system. Yeah. But yeah, no, Barkley's not still there. It's going to be Van Dyke. And then their backup is actually Mark Liu, the SFA. He's an SFA player.
God have mercy.
He's one of the... I made him. So yeah, he's one of the in-game recruits from last season. Wait, Flame, you made him?
Yeah, I made Mark Liu. I don't remember like what I made just for like balancing and whatnot. But yeah, I made Mark Liu.
Yep, so
really just to sit. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to be the backup. I mean, Miami's offense is really good. Restrepo absolutely destroyed Florida State last week on BearCave. So that's going to be definitely very interesting.
Let's not talk about that one.
So, yeah, no, game day is going to be great. It's going to be Saturday, probably around 7:30 a.m. my time, so 10:30 a.m. Eastern for everybody else. Quickly, we're going to open it up to chat if any of you guys have any questions for any of us, if you have questions about coaching changes or anything. But Thursday night picks, who are you guys picking? I have a very thought out reason why the Commanders are going to win, but I want to hear what you guys say first.
I have no choice but to say the Commanders because I have 3 of their fucking players playing tonight in 2 leagues. So, no comments.
Ouch. But, yeah, no, I'm a Bears fan, so Bears cover, and it should be relatively easy because it's goddamn Washington.
All right, no, not so fast, my friend. I'm gonna say to
my friend, you are Chicago.
I know, you're a Chicago fan, but here's the reason. Okay, I saw this on Twitter as I was getting ready for this today. Carson Wentz is arguably the greatest Thursday night quarterback in NFL history. You know why? He's played Thursday night football 6 times. He's 6-0. In those 6 games...
Oh, he's averaging 3 touchdowns and half a pick.
Yeah, he's thrown 1,400 yards, 15 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions. That is wild. On a short week, Carson Wentz goes out there and fucking balls. I don't know
that's
why.
The one week. That's the one game of season he gets his confidence.
Now, most likely it's probably because Thursday night games are normally not that great, let's be honest. But... still, I mean, 6 games is quite a sample size. This isn't like 1 or 2 where, okay, he had good games. It's fucking 15 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. That's wild. So, give me the commies. I love their receiving core. Their offensive line is complete AIDS. But, you know, if they can get creative, I know Robinson's going to be starting for the first time since he got shot, obviously. So if they can run the ball a little bit and give them a little bit of time back there to let Curtis Samuel and Terry, you know, get down the field, it's gonna be lights out for the Bears.
Let me say this. Let me say this shit. If Diami Brown does that bullshit again that he pulled last week, dude, I'm a Robinson his ass. Motherfucker vultured me for 2 fucking like 70+ yard touchdowns. God, right. Dude, I have the 2 best weapons.
All right, we have a question from Pinhead. Favorite storyline of SFA lore so far, let's say this season. What do you guys got?
Definitely what's going on right now. We're talking like fucking there's like a whole lot of backstory being built right now with this, and then it's caused 3 users to change fucking teams.
Yeah, this
Go ahead.
Yeah, this whole story has been just absolutely wild.
I mean, personally, my favorite is the whole Tennessee thing with the quarterbacks. It's a season-long kind of saga. You know, Louis Shire goes down. Cardale Jones, who I've been screaming for somebody to get him in the transfer portal because I felt like he was such a good talent gone to waste on a Tennessee team. But he played, got shit on 1 week, and then he's forced to play more, and he balled out, and now he's hurt, and now Louis Shire has to play. It's just like a whole wild thing going on. And the and the and the whole thing with Tennessee actually being okay this season as well is pretty awesome. I know they're 5-3, so they're probably out of it, and this is where the story kind of ends. But it was definitely one of those things that that made the early season really enjoyable. And then Pinstripe he likes Binks McBurnfinger going to San Diego State. I mean, I saw that coming a mile away. He dropped like a fucking load on him. Did either of you guys pitch to Sue this week? Because I have a feeling he's going to be.
No, I don't have any
I'm about to say I have no money at this rate, so.
No, when I say I have no money, I mean my bank account is zero.
So I will say for me, I got fucked on North Carolina. I was going after Maynard. I didn't even want him. He's a quarterback, but I wanted that the North Carolina fucking pipeline.
The pipeline, yeah.
And now that's fucking screwed. I have $100K that I plan to use. I don't know where it's gonna go this season. I might just hold on to it because I'm at $200K, so I can get a very high level tier. But yeah, that's kind of. So I'm at a weird spot. Normally I have like my whole season planned out for recruiting. Now I don't know what I'm gonna do. But with that, do you guys have any final words before we head out for Thursday Night Football to watch this shit show?
Yeah, I just wanted to have a moment of silence for Dirty's coaching stability.
Dude, that stability is so rough because he's only I don't know why he's going 1 year and he has two such great guys to build around. It's honestly whack.
It's weird though.
I was shocked he wanted to leave because he's got those guys there already. He's already going to have a massive fucking budget. So the potential to build that team.
Well, like I
like that could easily be the next Memphis team next year.
Dude, I liked the I liked the blackmail storyline, but then all of a sudden it turned to he's not allowed to call plays and all this he shit, and now he's visiting App State. It's like this guy has commitment issues. He can't commit to a single
crazy.
team.
It's so funny.
All right, well, I think that about wraps it up. This will be available on YouTube in like 20 minutes. Thank you guys all for watching. Thanks, DogWater, and thanks, Flame, for coming on short notice because JJ's a little bitch. But if you want to be on next week, let me know. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, any last words?
Yeah, Chicago already went 3-0.
Nice.
Oh god fucking damn it. Fuck. Bear down though. Fuck the Commanders. And fuck Dan Snyder. See y'all next time.
See you guys later. Thanks for watching.